By the end of this video, you'll understand why working harder for more money is the surest path to staying poor, and how the truly wealthy make money work for them instead of the other way around. For decades, we've been fed a myth. Study hard, get a good job, and climb the corporate ladder. But what if that ladder leads straight into a trap? Today, we're diving into the shocking truths about money, assets, and liabilities that the richest individuals have known for generations. There's an old story about a man and his donkey. Whenever he wanted the donkey to work harder, he'd dangle a carrot in front of its eyes. The donkey, driven by the hope of reaching that carrot, kept moving forward. This method worked perfectly for the man, but it was never in the donkey's best interest. In this story, that carrot symbolizes money. Most people keep working hard, hoping to become. Money is just an illusion. If you only work to chase that carrot, you will never truly reach it. The real secret lies in making money work for you. When you start your journey toward earning money, don't make your sole goal just to work for money. You see, fear and desire constantly control us, affecting how we approach our work. We fear not having enough, and this fear forces us to work harder, day after day. Then, desires start to form as we imagine all the beautiful things money can buy. These fears and desires keep us locked in an endless loop of needing more. We work hard, we earn more, and as a result, we spend more. Rich Dad called this pattern the rat race trap. Instead of falling into this trap, you must learn to avoid the influence of fear and desire. This is the approach most people take to try and get rich, but it's not the solution. You absolutely must make money work for you. When you get a job, don't just go to work thinking about collecting your paycheck at the end of the month. If you do, you'll find yourself barely paying your bills and repeating the same cycle again and again. Working another job for a higher salary is just another way of working for money. If you continue down this path, you'll never truly become rich. Ask yourself, are you just looking for job security? Are you working for money because you think it will make you rich or satisfied? If the answer is yes, then unfortunately, you will never succeed financially, and you will live and die poor. But if the answer is no, then you've just taken the first crucial step toward real change. Don't let the fear of not having enough money or the desire to earn more drive you to irrational behavior. It's astonishing, but even business schools rarely teach us how to create or lead businesses. Instead, they often teach us how to be employees who follow orders, or how to manage staff, or even lay them off. They rarely teach us how to be true leaders. Every morning, ask yourself, are you truly doing everything you can to achieve your full potential? If you haven't reached that goal yet, don't just think about money daily or work hard for a raise. Don't get stuck on thoughts like, my boss doesn't pay me enough, or I deserve a higher salary. When you stop blaming others and accept that the problem lies in your own way of thinking, you'll be able to adopt far more positive and effective ideas. This was the first lesson Rich Dad taught Robert when he and his friend Mike were teenagers. Rich Dad made them work unpaid in his store. They didn't think about the money they weren't getting, which allowed their minds to be free and create new ideas to make money work for them. At the store, they noticed an employee tearing off and keeping the front pages of old comic books, then discarding the rest. At the end of the day, the distributor would collect the top half of the books and replace them with new ones. The boys waited for the distributor and asked if they could keep the old magazines. He agreed, on the condition they didn't sell them. The boys agreed and started a brilliant business. They charged other kids a few cents per book to read comic books for a few hours. They ran their entire operation from a garage and even paid Mike's sister $1 a week to manage it. Their profit was about $99.50 a week. This was the very first time they learned how to make money work for them. But here's the concept that truly changes your financial future: assets and liabilities. The concept that changes your financial future. In 1923, a powerful meeting was held at the Edgewater Beach Hotel in Chicago. Many world leaders attended, alongside a group of the wealthiest businessmen in the world, including Charles Schwab, president of a huge steel company, and other titans of industry. 25 years later, every single one of these men was either bankrupt, had committed suicide, or gone insane. Why? People become so laser-focused on earning money that they completely forget to get an education that teaches them how to keep it. It's not about how much money you earn. It's about how much money you keep. Many lottery winners, despite winning millions, find themselves back in the same situation, or even worse, just a few years later. Many people ask, how should I start? The answer is simple: become financially educated. When you want to build a towering structure like the Burj Dubai, when you want to build a small house, you only need a 6-inch concrete slab. Unfortunately, most people try to build a financial skyscraper on a 6-inch slab, and it eventually collapses. Poor Dad wanted Robert to study and read books, while Rich Dad wanted him to become financially educated. The traditional education system teaches people how to build a house without a foundation. While reading books and studying are still important, it's not enough. You must understand the fundamental difference between liabilities and assets. And then you must buy assets. This may seem simple, but to become rich, you need to follow one crucial rule. The poor and middle class buy liabilities they think are assets, while the rich buy real assets. Rich Dad believed in the principle of keep it simple. He made things so simple for Robert and Mike, and that's precisely why they built such a strong foundation. The simplicity of these instructions is exactly why not everyone is rich. It's so simple that most people don't even think about it. They believe they already know the difference between financial literacy and general knowledge. But most people only truly understand what it means to be traditionally educated. Rich Dad explained the difference between assets and liabilities through simple diagrams. First, he showed the cash flow pattern of assets. An income statement, sometimes called a profit and loss statement, includes income, money that goes into your pocket, and expenses, money that goes out of your pocket. A balance sheet then lists and compares a person's assets with liabilities. Assets are things that put money into your pocket without you having to work for them. For example, if you buy a house and rent it out, the rent can pay off the mortgage and leave you with extra money. Whereas liabilities are things that steal money from you. For instance, buying a house and living in it without renting it out means you're spending money without getting anything back. To become rich, buy assets. And to avoid becoming poor, avoid buying liabilities. The wealthy have more money precisely because they understand what assets are, while the poor have less money because they don't properly understand this principle. This is why financial education is so incredibly important. When looking at the income of hard-working families, their cash flow history usually shows they work hard and earn good money. However, when that money is spent, it goes toward many liabilities, leaving them with nothing left to own real assets. Rich Dad showed the boys another diagram illustrating the cash flow of the middle class. In this diagram, the middle class often owns nothing in the asset column. The only thing that consistently increases their income is their salary. However, when we look at the expense category, the middle class loses most of its money to rent or mortgage payments, taxes, and daily expenses. This spending pattern almost guarantees they remain middle class in the future. They may have less money because they spend heavily on liabilities like mortgages, car loans, home loans, and credit card fees. On the other hand, the poor don't buy assets, but they also typically don't buy significant liabilities. They only earn money from their wages and spend it on daily living expenses. For example, a poor person might earn $300 and spend $100 on rent, $50 on transportation, $50 on taxes, and $100 on food and clothes. After paying these expenses, they have nothing left and may even need to borrow money, putting them further into debt. The rich take out loans to buy houses and then rent them out. They pay $1 a month as an installment and receive $2 in rent. They can pay off the loan while also making a profit. This way, they make money without working 40 hours a week. The real difference between poor dad and rich dad was in their way of thinking. The way they chose to deal with their money set them on completely different financial paths. In the 1960s, children dreamed of becoming doctors, or getting good grades because everyone believed academic success meant financial success. But many doctors ended up struggling financially because they believed more money would solve their problems, when it only exacerbated poor financial habits. Today, children aspire to be famous athletes, CEOs, movie stars, or rap stars, as they know that academic success alone is not the only way to succeed. The financial nightmare is even more common among newly married couples. They start their lives in a small house and believe their combined income has doubled their salaries. They save to buy a bigger house and focus on their careers. But as their income increases, their expenses also rise. In the absence of financial literacy, they spend more. And when they finally save enough to buy a bigger house, they mistakenly believe they have become rich. In reality, they have simply added another liability to their cash flow. People often believe that more money will solve their problems, but the real problem lies in poor money management. As the saying goes, when you find yourself in a deep hole, stop digging. Psychologists confirm that people fear rejection and judgment, so they follow the crowd. They buy bigger houses, nicer cars, or boats because everyone else has them. Rich Dad talked about 3 main forces that shape a person's life: power, money, and self-knowledge. He considered self-knowledge the greatest of these forces, as it gives you the ability to look deep within yourself, honestly evaluate your actions, and question whether you are heading in the right direction. When Robert and Mike were 16, they spent hours with Rich Dad, attending meetings with accountants, managers, and investors. Rich Dad, an uneducated man who hadn't even completed his studies, led and instructed these highly educated individuals. Robert and Mike loved these meetings because school, in many ways, suppressed creativity and molded students into a socially acceptable mold. Robert encourages you to buy assets instead of liabilities. Invest in assets that work for you and generate enough money to cover your expenses. Then, reinvest the remaining money into more assets. This is precisely why the rich continue to get richer, while the middle class remains stuck in a cycle of financial struggle. The wealthy work to grow their fortunes, while the middle class relies heavily on their salaries to cover daily expenses, trapping them in what is known as the rat race trap, which drains their energy without achieving any real financial progress. The next insight will fundamentally shift your perspective on what a business truly is. A difference between the rich and the middle class, learning to invest in assets. In 1944, Ray Kroc, the visionary founder of the world's largest restaurant chain, McDonald's, gave a speech to an MBA class. After his introduction, he asked the students if they could spend some time with him over coffee. Ray then posed a question: "What kind of business do you think I'm in?" Everyone confidently replied, "Of course, he's in the burger business." He simply laughed and told them his real business was real estate, as every McDonald's restaurant location was chosen based on the strategic value of the land it was built on. Kroc explained that buying a McDonald's franchise wasn't just about getting the rights to operate restaurants, but also a clever investment in ideally located real estate. The profound lesson Rich Dad taught Robert was that people usually work for everyone except themselves. They work for the government, or for the company they're employed by, or for the bank that handles their mortgage. Schools advise us to be employees, not business owners. They teach us to become what we study. If you study science, you become a doctor. And if you study mathematics, you become an engineer, and so on. This way, students are never taught the crucial difference between a profession and a business. When asked about the nature of your work, your answer shouldn't be that you're a banker or a doctor. That's your profession, not your business. Don't waste your life working on someone else's project and making them rich. Instead, invest your life in your own project and make yourself rich. This doesn't mean you should quit your day job. That's not what this philosophy teaches you. Keep your job, but also actively invest in your assets. Try to minimize your expenses. He continued his day job as Rich Dad taught him, maintaining the growth and stability of his asset column, while also focusing on his own businesses. And when $1 came in, he didn't let it go to waste. If you want to buy luxury items, that's perfectly acceptable. But the big difference between the middle class and the rich, people always think the rich should bear the burden of costs. But here's the kicker. The rich don't pay taxes. The middle class does. Initially, there were no taxes in England and America, although governments sometimes requested taxes during wars. In 1874, England made income tax permanent, and America followed in 1913. Despite citizen opposition, it took 50 years for income tax to be established as standard in the UK and US. Poor Dad worked for the government. The more he spent and the more people he employed, the more respect he gained. Whereas Rich Dad was a capitalist. The less he spent and the fewer people he employed, the more respect he gained from investors. Rich Dad always believed government employees were lazy, while Poor Dad thought the rich were greedy and should pay more taxes. When taxes were first introduced, they were mainly imposed on the rich. But then, governments wanted to impose more taxes. So they started taxing the middle class, and eventually the poor. The rich, however, saw an opportunity and formed corporations to reduce the risks to their assets. They would hire a crew, spend their money, and travel around the world to discover new treasures or trade routes. If the ship was lost and the crew perished, the rich only lost the money invested in that particular ship, not their entire personal fortune. The capitalist mindset appealed more to the rich have money, resources, and a mindset that helps them progress, while the middle class and poor work to pay taxes. Rich Dad played the game smartly by understanding the biggest secret of the rich: corporations. Money can be a form of power, but money alone is not enough. You must know about money and manage it to earn more. When you work for money, you give power to your employer. But when money works for you, you are the one in control. Poor Dad said Robert should work hard, get a job at a company, and climb the ladder to become rich. But Rich Dad asked Robert, "Why don't you own the ladder?" At that age, it was difficult to imagine. But by his mid-20s, Robert began to understand. He worked at Xerox, but every time he looked at his paycheck and saw the large deductions, he felt frustrated. And when he worked harder, those deductions only increased. Even when he got a promotion, he only thought, "Who am I working for? Who am I making rich?" In 1974, while working at Xerox, Robert founded his first company. He began to focus on his own businesses and decided to grow his assets. His own company started earning him more profit than his Xerox salary, and he was able to buy a Ferrari. Money started working for him, and he broke free from the rat race trap. He learned how to become financially literate and expressed the importance of people learning about accounting, investment, law, understanding markets, tax advantages, and how to avoid legal issues. He believed that financial awareness was the key to success, and that education in these areas brought individuals long-term financial freedom. Now, let's explore how to create opportunities and invest in your financial future, starting with a powerful lesson from a legendary inventor. How to create opportunities and invest in your financial future. Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone and patented his invention. As the business grew, managing the company became more difficult. Bell offered Western Union to sell his patent and his small company for $100,000. The president of Western Union rejected the offer, stating the price was too high. But Bell didn't give up and continued on his path to establish AT&T, which became the fourth largest telecommunications company in the world by revenue, and the largest wireless service provider in the United States, valued at billions of dollars. In 1944, Robert began teaching professionally. Among the thousands of people he taught, he noticed that all of them possessed great potential. Each of us has the ability to become an outstanding person, but self-doubt often holds us back. After leaving school, we realize that grades are not as important as we once thought. Financial success requires knowledge, but daring and courage set you apart from others. Most people choose to follow a safe approach in managing their money. However, taking calculated risks can lead you to become like Bill Gates or Alexander Graham Bell. Those who don't take risks may not face bankruptcy, but more importantly, they will never truly progress. Robert even designed a game called Cash Flow to help people understand how money works. The game is all about the path to wealth and how to escape the rat race trap. One day, a woman playing the game received a boat card, meaning she now owned a boat in the game. She was happy until she realized how much money she would have to spend on its maintenance. She then realized the boat was actually draining her money. After a while, she became convinced that her life was exactly like what happened to her in the game. She felt frustrated because she didn't understand how money works in real life. Real life is similar. If you don't understand something, you might get angry and blame something else. Instead, you can choose to learn what you don't understand and win the game of life. Many people have money in the cash flow game, but they don't know what to do with it. They find themselves falling behind in the game, even with a large amount of cash. Financial intelligence involves asking, what will you do when opportunities arise but you have no money? And what will you do when you have money but no opportunities? Answering these questions can help you progress. Most people get a job and work hard to answer these questions, but you must be someone who creates an opportunity for yourself. Don't wait for opportunities to come to you, because if you do, you'll spend your entire life waiting. The most important secret of the rich is realizing that money is not inherently real. We make money what we want it to be. Our minds are our most valuable assets, depending on how we use them. If you want to be among those who keep progressing, you must invest in your most valuable asset, your mind. You need to be financially smart. For example, in the 1990s, Arizona's economy was very weak. Citizens were encouraged to save $100 a month. Saving is always a good idea, but don't let it control you. Focusing only on growing your savings might cause you to miss investment opportunities that could push you far forward. But smart investors saw Arizona's weak economy as a perfect opportunity to buy many properties at incredibly low prices. Robert bought a $75,000 house for only $20,000 it only took him 5 hours to make $40,000. He continued those who create their own investments, which is far more professional and generates significantly higher profits. If you want to be the second type, you need to work on 3 main skills. 1. Finding an opportunity everyone else missed. Identify a specific need and then fill it. 2. Raising money. Second-type investors raise capital themselves. They don't always need a bank. 3. Organizing smart people. Not all smart people are leaders. Try to surround yourself with smart people who can advise you on the best steps to take. You might think talent is enough, but wait until you hear why investing your time in knowledge, not just money, is truly key. Invest your time in knowledge, not money. A journalist arranged a meeting with Robert. She had read some of his previous works and admired his style and use of words. When they finished the interview, she told him that she also wished to become a high-selling author like him. Robert asked her what was holding her back, and she replied that her books just weren't selling. He suggested she take a sales course taught by his friend, and she got angry, as she didn't know Robert had actually gone to sales school. It's essential to learn how to capitalize on that talent. Go and learn how to market yourself. There's no shame in becoming a salesperson. To gain truly broad knowledge, You must work in diverse companies, expand your understanding of different things in the world, and learn how everything works. Therefore, Rich Dad insisted that the two young men, Robert and Mike, sit with him in meetings with doctors, accountants, lawyers, and other specialists to gain a basic understanding of each field. When Robert left his high-paying job to join the Marine Corps, poor Dad couldn't understand why. He was devastated. Robert tried to explain the reason for his decision, but he couldn't get through to him. He pointed out that he wanted to learn to fly, but more importantly, he wanted to learn how to lead soldiers. Leading a team of employees or managing a company is the hardest part of running your own business, and that's precisely why Robert wanted to learn it. The biggest difference between Poor Dad and Rich Dad was that Poor Dad was concerned with job security, while Rich Dad was more interested in learning how to get rich. You have to learn a lot, not the other way around. Nevertheless, schools still reward people for specializing in certain areas. They give when doctors get a master's degree and then a PhD in a specific field like pediatrics. They are rewarded for increasing their knowledge in limited subjects. After returning from Vietnam, Robert joined Xerox. His goal for this job was not profit. Instead, he felt ashamed and afraid of the idea of selling anything to people. So he decided to participate in the sales training program offered by the company to overcome his fears. After the program ended, Robert started running his own company. If it failed, it would lead him to bankruptcy. But he chose to take the risk and follow Rich Dad's advice. Bankruptcy before the age of 40 is the best opportunity because you have enough time to recover from it. Most employers pay their employees wages that are barely enough to meet their daily needs. These employees work hard so they don't lose their jobs, and their biggest fears are limited to the amount of money they receive and the benefits the company offers. While this is good in the short term, it can be catastrophic for long-term plans. It's better to learn everything you want to know before choosing a specific career, because once you choose a specific career, you might feel stuck. Learning sales skills is essential for anyone who wants to earn income from their skills. It's important to acquire broad knowledge and skills in diverse fields. Make learning a priority over job stability, and don't hesitate to take risks early in your career to build a strong foundation for future success. But the path to wealth isn't just about knowledge. You'll need to conquer some powerful inner demons: fear, laziness, and doubt. Keys to overcoming them for wealth. On your journey to wealth, you will inevitably face many obstacles such as fear, laziness, and bad habits. First, overcome fear. No one likes losing money, but those who have become rich have lost money at least once in their lives. In contrast, the poor may never have lost a single penny. The issue is not the fear of losing money, but how you handle that fear. It's perfectly acceptable to feel fear at times. We all feel some fear. The solution to facing this fear is to simply acknowledge its existence. The fear of losing money is an undeniable reality. When you start at a young age, around 20, you can take risks and lose money because you have plenty of time to recover. If you wait too long, your fear of losing money might increase to paralyzing levels. One of the main reasons for financial failure is that people are too afraid of losing. Winning always comes after losing. When you learn to ride a bike, you fall several times before you master it. The same applies to the rich. They often lose money before they become truly wealthy. Second, overcome doubt. There will be many people who will keep telling you that what you are doing won't work. They'll say, "If it were so easy, why hasn't anyone else we know done it?" These people drain your energy. It's important to avoid these toxic behaviors and take risks even when you feel afraid. Listening to voices of doubt, whether from within yourself or from others, might leave you stuck exactly where they are. The real world always offers you many opportunities to become rich. If you're bogged down by self-doubt, you simply won't see those opportunities. Everything in life carries risks, and playing it safe is also a risk. Because you risk missing out on those incredible opportunities due to your lack of self-confidence. Move forward, take risks, and become rich. Third, overcome laziness. The story of the businessman who worked hard and lost his family is a common one. One day he returned home to find his wife had left with their children. He was aware of problems, but decided to work even harder to earn more money. The laziest people are actually the busiest. Busy people are often so obsessed with their work that they forget to take care of their families. They are so busy that they neglect their health. A little greed can actually be a good way to overcome lazy behavior. We often heard in our childhood that greed is a bad thing, but we all have a little greed inside us. The secret lies in controlling it and channeling it positively to become a driving force for achieving your goals and ambitions. Rich Dad hated phrases like, "I can't afford that," while Poor Dad always said that to Robert. Rich Dad believed these words closed children's minds and prevented them from being a little greedy. Instead, Rich Dad would ask, "How can I afford that?" This question can create a strong mindset in children and motivate them to think of ways to earn money and achieve what they want. Fourth, overcome bad habits. Robert's rich dad wanted young Robert to understand how to get rid of bad habits. So he asked him, "When did Robert's poor dad pay his bills?" Robert replied, "At the beginning of the month." Robert's rich dad wondered if Robert's poor dad had anything left after paying his bills. Robert replied, "Very little." Robert's poor dad paid others first, then paid himself. This is a bad habit. The author does not encourage people to stop paying their bills, but they should pay themselves first. When you pay yourself first, you instill a discipline that drives you to create more income. Paying yourself first means putting money into your investments before you start paying your expenses. This habit makes you more innovative and makes you look for ways to generate additional income. It also keeps your motivation high because you see your wealth growing, and it pushes you to work harder and smarter. Overcoming these obstacles requires acknowledging and facing your fears, avoiding pessimism, staying active instead of lazy, developing good habits, and maintaining humility. By doing so, you set yourself on the true path to financial success and profound personal growth. Finally, here are the 10 steps towards achieving financial independence to truly awaken the genius within you. 10 steps towards achieving financial independence. Reaching wealth requires a great deal of persistence and hard work. Success is not a matter of luck, but a direct result of creating your own opportunities and diligently pursuing your goals. Unfortunately, schools often teach us that our financial future is guaranteed by the government or the company we work for, which encourages reliance on others instead of building financial independence. This approach does not contribute to developing children's mindset toward ambition and innovation. Instead, it limits their potential for growth and progress. Here are 10 actionable steps to help awaken the financial genius within you. 1. The power of spirit, bigger than reality. Robert had a friend who dreamed of being part of the U.S. Olympic team. She would wake up every day at 4 a.m. to swim for 3 hours. She gave up nights out with friends and missed parties. When Robert asked her why she was so motivated, she said she did it for herself and her loved ones. Love was the true driver. If you ask people if they want to be rich and financially independent, the common answer is yes. But when they realize it's much harder than they thought, they quickly lose their motivation. To find your purpose, tell yourself that you don't want to be poor. You don't want to be an employee. And you don't want to be average. That will ignite your deepest desires. If these emotions are strong enough, you can use them as powerful fuel to achieve your wildest dreams. 2. The power of choice. You have complete control over every dollar you earn. You choose whether you lose this money or invest it. You control how that dollar is spent. Even if assets are gifted to you, you still need to learn how to maintain them. Unfortunately, most people choose not to become rich, as they set limits for themselves that mold them into a certain. The choice of education is the best investment you can make, as your mind is your strongest asset. 3. The power of association. Don't choose your friends based solely on their financial status. Form friendships with people from all different walks of life. You can learn so much from those who are different from you. Most wealthy people, when they become rich, discover that their friends rarely ask them how they achieved their wealth. They don't ask how to earn money like them. They only ask for jobs or money. 4. The power of fast learning. Be careful about what you learn and what you retain in your memory. because you truly become what you learn. For example, if you study medicine, you become a doctor. And if you study engineering, you build bridges or houses. In today's world, our world today moves at a rapid pace, and you need to be able to keep up with it. If you take too long to learn something, it becomes outdated and useless, and you'll find that you've wasted your time on skills that are no longer applicable. The power of self-discipline. If you can't control yourself, don't try to become rich. Always remember to pay yourself first before anyone else. Individuals who pay themselves first invest their money in their assets before using their salaries to cover expenses. Then, their assets will be the ones paying their expenses. Here are 2 essential tips to help you pay yourself first. Don't get yourself into large debts. When facing financial pressure, let the pressure build and think of creative ways to earn more money. Don't tamper with your investments or savings. That's never the solution. The power of expert advice. It's always essential to consult professionals if you don't have enough understanding of how things work. Don't try to sell your house by yourself if you're not an expert. Listen to their advice and benefit from it to acquire the necessary knowledge so you can do it yourself next time. It's true that professionals might charge a higher fee, but that's often a good investment, as the more they profit, the more you profit too. 7. The power of getting something for nothing. For example, when buying stocks, invest in an area your broker believes will increase in value. You can take $1,000 and invest it in a company. After a few years, you can turn that amount into $2,000. Then you can use the additional $1,000 to invest in something else to increase profits. This way, you have the ability to profit from nothing. You might lose some money, but taking calculated risks is essential. 8. The power of focus. Most people lack sufficient financial knowledge, which leads to a large portion of their money being wasted on unnecessary things. Imagine you gave 100 people $10,000 each, and after just 1 year, you would find that 80% of them had spent everything. In contrast, 16% would achieve a slight increase of 5% to 10% in their money, while the remaining 4 would be able to double their money. Schools teach us how to work in jobs that earn money, but what we truly need to learn is how to make money work for us. Be a business owner, not an employee. Everyone loves luxury. What makes the rich wealthy is that they don't buy luxuries with debt. They don't take the easy road and buy them with debt. Instead, they pay for them with their assets. To control money, you must be smarter than it. Otherwise, it will control you. 9. The power of legends. The true power of learning lies in creating your own hero. Learn from their moves, techniques, and work. When you're young, your heroes are often football or basketball players. As you get older, your heroes should align with your mindset. Choose new heroes, people who will genuinely help you achieve your goals. Personal heroes inspire us to become what we want, make it easier, and keep us motivated. for a long time. The power of giving. Whenever you feel you need something, give something away. Find a charity to support. Donate old clothes to a charity. This is the profound power of giving. What you give always comes back to you. Even if it doesn't, you'll find that the joy of giving itself is a powerful reward. By observing these 10 principles, you can embark on the path to truly enriching yourself. Closing. The journey to financial independence isn't about magic formulas or overnight success. It's about understanding fundamental truths, shifting your mindset, and consistently applying proven principles. Start today and reclaim control of your financial destiny.